She's walking in the door.
She is?
Oh, she is coming.
Okay.
Everybody's phone's off.
Yeah, I think I brought one.
Yeah. We'll talk about it after.
I'm going to call the meeting to order of the Park and Recreation Commission, September 17th. And we're going to call of order, roll call, all commissioners are present, and 3 staff members. Adoption of the agenda. Is there any deletions, additions, or changes?
I move that we adopt it.
Second,
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes. I didn't see anything that wasn't in there.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Citizens' communications. If there's any citizens here that have anything to say that is not pertaining to new business, please step forward. Come ahead. It doesn't have anything to do with Day in the Park, does it? Okay, thank you.
So my name is Alejandra Arbetman.
Speak into the microphone,
Hello?
please. Yeah.
Hello.
My name is Alejandra Arbetman. I'm a parent of a kid in BES, and I wanted to talk about the Club Rec, the after-school program.
Oh,
Is
okay.
Club Rec.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the first, today I learned about this meeting, and I just wanted to ask if it's possible to have a meeting with parents to ask for feedback about the Club Rec, because, you know, I hear a lot of things around, but we didn't have a resource to actually communicate about what we think and what we would like to improve in this program. So it will be nice to have a meeting where parents can come and bring feedback.
They're always welcome.
I know, but it will be nice to have a formal, like, actual meeting where we all can, maybe not so formal, but that people can speak and talk more about the specific issues that are going on. And
Alejandra?
promote it, basically, because it was not promoted, this meeting. Or no, I don't.
Alejandra, are you asking that either the commissioners or the staff meet with you?
Yeah, I mean, staff can set up a
would-
meeting with the parents
Yes.
and, send out a notice to the parents for the Club Rec and have a meeting about, what we can do to improve the program.
I have a question for you, Alejandra. We kind of discussed this in a subcommittee meeting, but we were discussing having surveys for programs for people once they complete them to review their instructor or if they had any suggestions for improvement. So would something like that work for you if every parent was sent home maybe like 3 times during the year or something, whatever you would suggest, where they could just write down, they could fill out the form and send it back. So instead of having everyone have to come to a meeting,
Yeah.
then they could just fill that out.
It's just that sometimes it's really hard to speak with the counselors
Right.
at that time, so it would be nice to have another form of participation to give feedback. I mean, I hear parents' concerns about safety of the kids, like how the kids are picked up, and
Yeah.
the concerns about what the kids are doing during the whole afternoon, that is just place-based and there is not any
Structure.
structure. And so there are many things that it will be nice to discuss, maybe, and have more parents to participate.
Okay.
Por supuesto. Por supuesto.
Por supuesto.
No te olvides que estamos aquí para ti.
Muy bien, thank you.
Vamos a hacerlo.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very much. Any other citizen communications?
Hi, my name is Danette Davis, and I would actually like to make a comment about what she just said. And what I think might be a good thing is actually maybe to put it on your next agenda to discuss the very issue that she has, which is the Park and Rec program and all the issues that they have concerned. And you can put it on your next agenda, or if not that one, the next agenda, and then distribute those flyers to all the students that are enrolled in the program so the parents know that it's actually here at this location. And because it sounds like they really need dialogue. And I think that sounds like it's something more. I think the survey is a great idea and doing stuff, but it sounds like they really need more dialogue and maybe some changes need to happen right now and not wait for a survey to be put together and information to come back and be compiled. And then not everybody really fills them out. I am notorious for filling out surveys and never sending them. So it just may be easier in this situation to have it here and on the agenda, and they know they just all need to come to one place rather than a subcommittee or a couple of you going there or a staff person. I think they need to talk to probably you as a commission. So that's my bright idea.
Can you put that on our agenda for the end of the meeting, so
Thank you.
you remind me? Thank you. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Okay, old business. I know we have some, but there's nothing on this agenda. Okay.
Well, some of the old business is going to show up under Commissioners' Matters, I think.
Okay, new business. Okay, review of the for-profit business at Day in the Park. And before I ask the citizens to come forward, I would just like to give a little summary of what I know of Day in the Park. And I'm going back to 1990. And when this first all started, it was a park and rec event that was put on, and it was started with the Pickle Family Circus. And it was at Brisbane Elementary School in the field. And it was more or less like a carnival. It was kind of fun little thing. It went on for several years. It was called, and then it was called the Family Festival. And then we evolved, and the community park was built, and we moved down there, and it was still called the Family Festival. And the local businesses came in the community, and then it evolved some more, and we got tents, and we changed the name to the Community Festival. And then the artists came, and we are evolving again, and it was called Day in the Park, and it's where we are now. So I just wanted everybody to hear that, how over the years it has become a better and bigger event, and it has embraced the community from where it first started as this little carnival. So with that, I'd like any people in the citizens to get up and speak.
Okay, well, I'm already warmed up, so figure it out.
Would you just
Since I
put
was
your
the first to
microphone there?
arrive. Okay, is
Thank
that
you.
good?
Very good, thank you.
All right. Well, on September 15th, I wrote a letter that was all forwarded to you, and hopefully you got it. But I will take the time right now to read that. And since then, I've collected some more thoughts, and I've written those down, so I will add to that. This letter is to address the issue and current policy in which select vendors are allowed to participate in the annual Day in the Park Festival. I call it the DIP. Okay. It's the current policy to allow only nonprofit organizations and arts and craft vendors to conduct commerce at the DIP. Under this current policy, no for-profit businesses located in or out of Brisbane are allowed to operate a booth. This policy seems discriminatory and illegal. Under this current policy, artists, promoters, entertainers, equipment and supply rental companies can earn a wage or make a profit, such as commerce, at the dip. But for-profit businesses are not allowed to operate a booth or sell or promote their business. Nonprofit organizations are an invaluable asset to the Brisbane community. I support our local nonprofit organizations, various events and activities as an individual and a business owner. The artist community and the local talents enrich the Brisbane community through dance, music, visual, and many other mediums. However, this current policy overlooks the importance of for-profit businesses in Brisbane and all they do for our community. As a result, this policy may be communicating to our local businesses that they do not deserve the same level of value as other groups. The Park and Recreation Commission should amend this current policy and allow for-profit businesses to operate booths at the dip. Additional vendors would add more variety and options to the dip that would benefit attendees. Sincerely, Danette Davis, business owner and former Park and Rec chair. So since then, I've compiled some more thoughts and put it on paper, so here we go. I have sent you all a letter dated September 15th, 2014, regarding your current policy of allowing only nonprofit organizations and a select group of for-profit businesses, arts and crafts to be exact, to participate in the Day in the Park Festival. I addressed my disapproval of this policy and asked that the Commission revoke this policy effective immediately. At this time, I urge the Commission to review other policies that are in force for all recreation events. Preferred vendor rights. Certain groups have exclusive rights to sell goods. This policy allows those to become a monopoly. This policy violates antitrust laws and is discriminatory and seems illegal. Current requirements for business license. What is the city policy for those who do business in the city at the community park? Is a license required for both goods and services, for both goods and services? Is the entertainment, band, magician, face painter, hayride required to purchase a business license? Are the arts and crafts vendors required to purchase a business license? What is the budget for the Day in the Park? I heard it is $20,000. Is this true? Why is taxpayer money used for an event that monetarily benefits only nonprofit groups and showcases only arts and crafts artisans? Concerts in the park. Did you know that 18 of the 21 sponsors for concerts in the park came from businesses located in and out of Brisbane? It's great that both nonprofit and for-profit vendors can participate in that event. However, at your last meeting, a Park and Rec commissioner stated that one of the nonprofit groups would no longer be giving away coffee and hot chocolate at the concert series. The commissioner also stipulated that in the future, coffee and hot chocolate must be given away for free. In other words, a business is not allowed to sell coffee. Coffee must be given away for free. Why? This stipulation from your fellow commissioners is blatant discrimination and anti-business. Why can a food truck sell food while coffee, which has always been free, cannot be sold for profit by a vendor? Is it because it's always been done that way? This reasoning makes no sense. It's discrimination, illegal, and anti-business. Where do you come up with these rules? Does the commission come up with these rules? Does the staff come up with these rules? Does the city council come up with these rules? Is the city attorney aware of these rules? Where does this mindset come from? I ask you, commissioners. Is it because we've always done it that way? Is it because if it's not broken, don't fix it attitude? Is it because we don't want outsiders to come into this town? If you answered yes to any of these questions, I suggest you evaluate whether or not you should remain on this commission. Your decisions and policies should never be made because it's always been done that way. Or let's not change anything. Guess what? There's always room for improvement. Or we don't want outsiders coming here. It's for the locals only. Maybe you should move to a gated community. That's what they're for. Let me remind you that your position on the commission is to serve at the pleasure of the council and make decisions that would benefit the community as a whole, not your personal agenda. Nonprofit organizations enrich our community and add to the quality of life. Likewise, the business community provides jobs, tax dollars to run this city, donations made to nonprofit groups, and city-sponsored events. In addition, the business community enriches this community by offering goods and services for sale. I urge you, commissioners, to consider what is in the best interest of this community and allow any and all for-profit businesses located in and out of Brisbane to participate in any and all city-sponsored events. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Come on up. I expect all of you to get up and say something.
A lot of nothing or a lot of something?
Nothing, something.
All right, so I don't,
Speak your mind, that's why you're here.
going to the eye doctor tomorrow.
Oh.
But I have to do this for now. Greetings, hi. Thank you for being here and for serving on this commission and doing the great work that our community enjoys. I'm here tonight for a couple of
Name,
reasons.
please.
Oh, sorry. I'm Jennifer Bousquet.
Thank you.
I live at 847 Sierra Point Road in Brisbane. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm here tonight for a couple of reasons, and I'll try to be as succinct as possible. I want to have a table for my business at Day in the Park, and I run a business called hulafrog.com. It's local things for kids to do. I approached Caroline Chung at the City of Brisbane about partnering back in May. And I wanted to help sort of spread the word about our farmers markets, concert in the park, day in the park, classes that the Park and Rec Department would be promoting in exchange for the city allowing me to have a presence at community events and help get the word out about Hula Frog. It seemed like a win-win for both of us, and she agreed. It wasn't a contract. It was just we met, we talked, we had, the same mindset, and it seemed like a really great idea. And if you're not familiar with Hula Frog, in a nutshell, it is a website meant to be a resource for parents. The website features a daily event calendar full of fun things to do with your kids that are local. There are also directory pages, so if a parent is looking for a kid-friendly restaurant, a pediatrician, a nearby playground, a birthday party venue, they can look for it on my website. I send out free newsletters to subscribers each week, telling them what's going on in their area. And currently I have 638 families subscribing, and my territory covers Brisbane to Burlingame. So that's basically what the business model is. I recently approached the South San Francisco Department of Parks and Rec, and they embraced the concept. They quickly claimed their free business profile. They uploaded their Park and Rec Department logo. They listed their family-friendly events, and they gave me a table for free at their fun family food event that they had recently. Parents came to my table and were so excited about this resource that I signed up 78 new subscribers that day. So I was really happy. I had a lot of fun. I was actually right next to Barbara from South City Scavenger, and we just had a great time together. And she said, "I'll see you at Day in the Park." And I said, "Yeah," until I found out no. But anyway, so not only that, the website, Everything South City, interviewed me and published an article about what a great community resource Hula Frog is. And I just really appreciate South San Francisco's progressive attitude. So Hula Frog is a for-profit business, not at the moment, but I hope that it will be someday. But it's a business-to-business model, meaning I don't charge consumers at all to use my website or sign up for my newsletters. I also do not sell email addresses, so I'm not collecting people's information and then reselling it. That's sacred, and to use my website and to check the daily event calendar to see what's going on, all of that's free. To get the newsletter, it's free. I won't be selling anything at Day in the Park, but just trying to get the word out to families about my service. The model basically is that I hope to have advertisers that are trying to reach families that want to present their products on my website. They'll advertise, basically. I'll eventually hope to be selling advertising on the website. So I have an activity for the kids, a sign-up sheet for the parents, and so far for free, I have promoted on my site and in my newsletters the Brisbane Dance Workshop, the Silver Spot Nursery School, Fun Motion Soccer, the City of Brisbane, Parks and Rec Department. I want to help support my community and its endeavors in a positive way, and I believe that Hula Frog does this. Just because I'm a business, trying to be a business, doesn't mean I'm not part of the community and should be excluded from Day in the Park. So that's my first point. That's a little bit about Hula Frog. Secondly, I just want to talk about the process that I've kind of gone through, sort of feeling like I had this understanding with Caroline back in May that I was going to have a table at Day in the Park, and it wasn't until I followed up with her and said, "Oh, do I need to supply my own table?" that I learned that there was an issue. And so I'm disappointed with the experience that I've had. Caroline understood the value of what I'm offering, but other staff seemed to have an issue with it. They claimed I wasn't eligible due to the current policy that prohibits for-profit businesses from participating. Yet the policy is riddled with inconsistencies. The artisans sell goods that make money. The hayrides make money. The face painter makes money. South San Francisco Scavenger, a much bigger for-profit business, will have a table. Because they provide services to the community, they are seen as a partner. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to provide a service that benefits everyone, but South San Francisco Scavenger charges residents for those services. I'm not charging anybody, and yet they're allowed to have a table and I'm not. It seems very inequitable. I was told that my request was reviewed by the subcommittee and rejected. I later learned that this was not true. So I'm not sure what happened there. There was a miscommunication of some sort. I was told that businesses have been requesting tables and been rejected because that is the policy. Yet when I spoke to a member of the subcommittee, she told me she had never been given this information and did not know there was a demand from the business community. Clearly, we can do better than just saying no, just to say no, right? I mean, we need to have dialogue. I get very frustrated, so that was a frustrating experience. Finally, the third sort of point that I want to make is that the larger issue is how we treat businesses in our community. We go to them with our hand out asking for money. Remember the playground with the stars? But on our biggest community day, we say, "You're not welcome." And I had an email because I asked the owner of Starbucks if he would come to the meeting tonight. And he said, "I've long ago given up trying to promote my quiche business at town events because the answer is always no." That's really sad. Now most of his business is catering and takes place outside of Brisbane. So, side note is I know the Economic Development Subcommittee is looking at ways to attract businesses. Well, how about servicing the businesses that are already here so that they aren't driven outside of Brisbane? I understand that there's a concern about nonprofit businesses making a lot of revenue at Day in the Park, and I totally get that. It's a huge fundraising day for them. But I think that if there are more vendors, it will make for a better attended event, and there will be more money for all people concerned. And I also think that there's some solutions that can be proposed so that nonprofits don't feel threatened, whether it's commercial vendors paying a higher table fee, making a donation that day to the charity of their choice. Some kind of criteria could be established to assuage those concerns. And I understand change is difficult. And we want to preserve the character and the quaintness of our really great hometown festival. And I don't want it to be a commercial free-for-all. But I think reasonable criteria and consistent criteria can be established to help it improve and have some growth. I'm not even sure all local businesses would want a table, but you know what? It's nice to be invited, not excluded. You know, that's a big part. I hope that you will support the understanding that I had with Caroline and grant me a table at this year's Day in the Park, as well as take the time to amend the existing policy so that appropriate businesses can be included. And I appreciate your listening. And this is a PS because I was sitting there and you were talking and you said the festival started in 1990. Well, next year's the 25th anniversary. It could be like the awesomest festival better if you hear from many participants, right?
It started before 1990. That's when.
All right, now you're correcting the record.
That is my
Recollection.
recall, when I entered Brisbane.
But I'm just saying, a lot of people have ideas. Like the minute you said 1990, I thought,
Oh, yeah.
25 years next year. How cool is that? We could have a giant, celebration and everyone would be happy and there'd be rainbows and unicorns. And so
Well, that's.
thank you
that's
for
a good
listening.
thought.
Those are my thoughts for today. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Russ, how long has it been going on? 28.
Yeah. Come on up.
My name is Kevin Fryer, and I live here in Brisbane, and I am a former commissioner. It's nice to see my old colleagues up here. I'm not terribly well organized, so I may wander around a little bit as I make my point. As I listened in onto the conversations about this issue, one of the things that struck a chord with me was that we go to the businesses all the time and ask for money. And of course, what I'd like to speak to tonight is from the point of view of a nonprofit, because I run Live at Mission Blue, and indeed, as we speak, I'm preparing fundraising letters to the business community. Every year, about in January, I go to the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. I'm invited as a guest to speak to their graduate seminar on the business of music. They use Live at Mission Blue as a model for how it works. I think I've done it 8 years, maybe 9 years. The professor uses it, first of all, as a straw man to talk about 501c3s, developing a board, and so on, basic information that these young professionals who are about to go out into the world need to know. When we get to talking about fundraising, I talk about Live at Mission Blue, and there are 4 places that we get funding from. The first is from the government. We get funding from the City of Brisbane under the co-sponsorship program. In fact, tomorrow night I go to the City Council meeting to present for co-sponsorship. We also have what we call as earned income. That earned income comes from ticket sales. That's our earned income. We also have individual donations. That is from individuals who give us money. We have a few people who give us large amounts of money, and we have a lot of people who give us small amounts of money. The small amounts are very important because when you have a lot of people giving you small amounts of money, that adds up. And the last, and very important, is business sponsorship. And we have spent years developing relationships with the business community in Brisbane and outside of Brisbane to develop sponsorship from them. What I tell these young adults about to go into the world about businesses is that businesses have a responsibility to participate, to support the nonprofits in their community. They also have a responsibility to choose carefully which nonprofits they support. They need to know that their funding is going to be put to good use. The nonprofit has a responsibility to them to make sure that their support is acknowledged and recognized within the community. This is an important relationship between the nonprofits and the business community. My concern about the city having a policy that says businesses cannot participate in Day in the Park is that it sends a negative message back to the business community. And I think if we step back far enough and look at the health of nonprofits, it actually hurts nonprofits more than it helps nonprofits. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Tony Varios, Varios Insurance Agency, 200 Valley Drive, also a local resident at Viewpoint at the Ridge. And I'd like to say that if my business can't come to Day in the Park, none of you will have a chance to see the two most beautiful dogs in Brisbane. Shadow and
I was going to
Alexia.
say, are you going to bring mine?
Sorry. Bring your mind.
See, that's the point. Everybody loves their dogs, and the next thing I want to propose is that we create a pet festival where we bring all of our pets and have a good time checking them all out. In terms of the October 4th participation eligibility change, I'd like to say that my understanding of this event was the event was always meant as a means to bring the whole community together to strengthen our connections, welcome new neighbors, reach out to make new friends, share information on public safety, health, and good environmental stewardship. Some of us were left out. A big part of what makes Brisbane the place we enjoy to live and work is the care and support offered by a large and very active number of community volunteer and nonprofit organizations, which many of us are members of. I'm a member of the Lions Club and the Brisbane Chamber. We can probably all agree that we want this event to remain a very positive experience for all participating groups who display or sell products to help fund their community programs. Please endorse a few minor points of clarification to current policy consistent with the event goals reflecting on fairness. My suggestions are: 1, make all Brisbane businesses eligible to participate, subject to no business, either for-profit or nonprofit, will sell or give away any products similar to those being sold by any participating nonprofit, unless all nonprofits whose income may be negatively impacted first agree to that. Preference will be given to resident businesses, but if no resident business agrees to represent a desired product or service, others will be allowed to. Resident businesses offering services and public information will be encouraged to participate without limitation, subject to available space on a first-to-register basis. Insurance is what I do. Insurance is a very confusing business which many people have questions about. As owner of Varios Insurance Agency, I'm uniquely qualified to share my knowledge and look forward to providing free public education to any insurance topic at this year's Day in the Park. Respectfully, Tony Varios. And I'd like to just add that I think the problem is not complex. The solutions could be variable. I just presented one option. Other speakers before me presented some other options, and having spoken with other people, there may be a couple of speakers after me who will touch on the subject, but the possibility of revenue sharing. There are many different ways to protect our nonprofits and still grow the event, have a healthy event without it being a burden on the city or a problem in any way. It just, as Jennifer said, change isn't always comfortable for everybody, but change is mandatory. We either guide the change or it gets forced on us some way or another. So thank you for your listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Hope you're feeling okay. Karen Cunningham of Tulare Street. I was one of those businesses that was told in no uncertain terms that I was not welcome at Day in the Park in the past. And, interestingly enough, I've written checks every year to almost every nonprofit in Brisbane. I've participated as a volunteer in almost every organization in Brisbane, or at least I've applied to be there. In one case, I was told I wasn't welcome, so whatever. And I want to talk about the nonprofits as well. I actually think that if we change the policy, which, by the way, I think if we ran it by any attorney would say the policy as it stands is completely illegal and discriminatory and could cause some big problems for the city. I think the nonprofits would actually benefit a lot from having local Brisbane businesses present, because they might say to the Women's Club or to the Lions Club or whoever it is, hey, we have a service that we would like to donate for you if you want some graphic design done or whatever it is. And there's a lot of little graphic designers in Brisbane. There's a lot of small businesses. There's a lot of people who do things like I do, various things like I do. People pick up the phone all the time and say, hey, Karen, will you bring your camera and take some headshots for me? Okay, fine, I'm there. So there's a lot of us little businesses in town who might have, my office is in Los Angeles, but I work here, I love my town, and I would love to have an opportunity to be there if I so chose to. And I want you to just imagine for a minute that we have a policy where our businesses are welcome not only to write checks when we ask them to donate to everything and then they're told you're not welcome. But just imagine if we had some of the small businesses in town, all the people I don't know what half of the people that I know in town, what they do for a living. It would be so lovely to see tables of people. And it might be that, say, 4 people who are graphic designers take a table together, or maybe 4 people who love to cook like I do. We do a cooking demonstration or something like that. And those things enhance everything that goes on in our town, because then there might be 15 people over here who are having a dinner party and might want my help. Well, great, that's what we can do, or the graphic designers or whatever. And so far, only allowing our artist group to make money is really, really unfair. And so I could call myself an artist, but you probably wouldn't allow me to sell my book. But maybe I could come down with my photos and sell the photos that are in the book. So we've got these policies that don't make any sense at all. We've had a bully mentality that we've unfortunately had to live through on our street for many years, and that doesn't exist anymore, and it's so pleasant. So I think it's time to take off the 100-year-old hat, put on the new hat, and embrace some change. The change is not threatening. The change is going to be positive for everybody. And it's not some major change that's, going to make sure that none of the nonprofits get anything. I think the nonprofits will be bolstered immensely by opening our Day in the Park, which is a day in the park for our entire community. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. Walt Long, President of the Lions Club. And I don't know if it got to this commission, but I did make comments one time about nonprofits competing with for-profit businesses, or I should clarify that. The IRS considers this a tax-exempt business and that nonprofit is a local or state term. And the concern is, in researching my role as a president of a nonprofit or tax-exempt organization, one of the references advised against competing with for-profit enterprises. And I had to do some research. I spent part of today reading Title 26 of the U.S. Code, so I'm a little cross-eyed. The issue is more of what IRS considers unrelated business income. For the Lions Club, our bylaws permit us to do fundraising for charity and use those funds for charity purposes. So it's our income would not be classified as unrelated business income. It's another nonprofit who, like the nursery school or dance, if their bylaws do not permit them to do fundraising such as selling things at Day in the Park, then their income would be, from my understanding, would be non-related business income, and it could be possibly subject to tax depending on, you know, their finances and things like that. And I don't want to go into that. But my experience with the Day in the Park is that Lions Club sells hot sandwiches. We don't sell Cokes, we don't sell corn, we don't sell anything else, pretty much just sandwiches. That's because the other nonprofits, it's been divided up on what the other organizations can sell. I remember one year somebody selling deep fried Twinkies. But our concern would be more on in competing with a for-profit business, especially something like hot trucks, the food trucks, is we have to make a decision on what to buy just for a one-day event. And if we have a, you know, competition, you know, it makes it very difficult for us to decide what we have to purchase for the event and what, you know, it would impact us greatly because we can project sales. We know what we sold over the past, you know, 10, 20 years and how to prepare for that without, if we have a great reduction in sales, you know, it greatly impact us and the money that goes back into the community. And the other thing, with the, say, the for-profit businesses, their main complaint to the IRS about tax exempt is unfair competition. And I've noticed that in many other events outside of Brisbane, is that usually you have food vendors that are all from tax-exempt organizations, or they're all for-profit, but they don't mix very well because we have one organization that doesn't pay taxes on the profit, and a business that is, you know, I'm going to say, you know, taxed to a considerable amount. So that was the main issue I came up to my research today is, and the basis for the comments and the research I came up before was an issue of unfair competition. You know, putting two organizations together that have a different business plan and they just don't mix too well. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dan Carter, 340 Mendocino Street. I am wearing a lot of hats tonight when I come up here. I'm currently on the Chamber of Commerce. I am the board of directors for that. I'm obviously a member of the Lions Club. I'm a business owner in town. I do a lot of different things. You guys, most of you know that. So when I look at this, you know, when I see something like this, I see people, you know, some people address things looking at confrontation or blame or something, and I kind of look for resolution, and I believe that's what you guys are here to do. So that's what I like about the city of Brisbane in general, is everybody gets to put out a voice, and then we come to a resolution, and usually it's something that works for everybody. So obviously we ask a lot of businesses to do things. Our business does a lot. My wife and I donate to things, concerts in the park. As a Lions Club member, we have a fun run every year that I have been the guy that's run it and started it originally, and I ask a lot of the businesses to help me out, and they've always been generous. The businesses in town have been great for supporting everything. I don't see any reason that businesses should be excluded from Concert in the Park. That, you know, when I think about it logically, it doesn't make any sense at all. And I'm sure it's something that happened, and when it started out small, it made a lot of sense. The way it started out, I was here, you know. I was a volunteer fireman there. We sat on the fire truck. We had kids take pictures, you know. It was just games to earn a little money for this nonprofit and that nonprofit. And it's changed, and it's grown. So I think I'm glad the discussion came up, and we're talking about changing it. I don't think, I mean, I've been to the Millbrae Arts and Wine Festival, which is a huge undertaking, and it's a wonderful event. And when I see that event, it's not like they have 10 hot dog vendors and 10 hamburger vendors. They have certain vendors that sell certain things. So I don't think it's a thing of competition. I don't think that's a worry to me when I look at it. I'm not worried about the Lions Club losing money in it. I'm not worried about the people who sell the snow cones losing money in it, because I don't think that when you address it or you thought of it, it doesn't make sense that you're going to say, okay, we're going to have 10 snow cone vendors. It doesn't make sense. We're not here. I don't think you're going to think that it's, whatever the nonprofit says, let's compete somebody against them, because let's face it, if someone comes up against the Lions Club and came to sell the sandwiches that we sell, I know what the loyalty is in this community. They're going to lose on that deal, so
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. That's how our community is. We're going to support each other. But the businesses in town, you know, a lot of them and people in this room have those businesses have supported us. So I think it makes sense at this time to make a change. Obviously, it's going to be, here's our thoughts, here's what we're going to do. It can't be something that costs the city a lot of money in tables and stuff, so we have to do something to offset that by, obviously, there's a set amount of fee they're going to have to pay. And if it's someone outside the city come in, I think that fee should be a little bit higher. This is our community festival, and I don't think there's anything discriminatory about that myself. It is going to be limited by a certain size. The park's not that big, you know? I mean, we'd love to see an event that made money for everybody, businesses, nonprofits in general, that would fill those coffers up. You know, for the Lions Club, you know, people concerned about our profit, there's no such thing as profit in the Lions Club. 100% of what we make goes back to the community. There's nothing, we're not here to make money for us. We're here to make money and give it back. And that's what's great about Brisbane and the nonprofits, I believe. So I just believe that it's a great idea, and it's time to let the businesses in. And I think you know, needs to be sat down and decided this is what'll work for this event. And we, you know, we're pretty much to the festival this year, but I think it's a great time to start the discussion now and get it all set up and include a lot of these wonderful people and wonderful businesses in town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Yes, yes.
Got it. There was one point that I kind of missed, and I've wanted to bring this up for a long time. A repository. I have 100 wine glasses that I quite often loan to the library or to San Bruno Mountain Watch for their events. I have 100 martini glasses. I have 4 folding tables. I have this, that, and the other. I was thinking maybe we could start a community repository of stuff like that, because one of the things that when I was thinking of you know, bringing in the small businesses, most of us have our own tents, most of us have our own tables, and so that's not an extra cost to the community. Most of us do have that stuff, but a repository of stuff, I don't know what you'd call it, but I was just kind of thinking that, you know, that could happen. And, you know, oh, you need martini glasses, go get them from Karen, you want a table, that kind of thing. So just throw that in the mix.
Thank you.
I like that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Karen's so good at bringing up new ideas. You could call it a community resource tool. If you use the city's database and people voluntarily want to offer services that they can provide in the event of an emergency or in the event of a community event like the Day in the Park or others, and they want to offer tables, chairs, or other things, it'd be nice for the city and the Park and Rec Department to have knowledge of where they could go to ask for those things, all with the intent of keeping the cost to the city down. And the second thing is that our chamber president and my fellow Lion, Dan Carter, mentioned the size of the park. Well, the size of the park is limited, but we've never used the whole park in the first place. We used part of, is it Francisco Street? That's where the Lions Club sets up? San Francisco? We use part of that street for cooking, but we don't use the whole thing.
Will we do for the Derby, up
For
at
the
the
Derby.
top? Yeah.
For the Derby, but not for the Day in the Park. And,
That's the day of the
Day in
park,
the park.
too.
oh, that's
Yeah,
earlier.
that's, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. And
Oh,
then,
yeah.
but we also have the possibility that in the future, if the event grows, if it grows under a controlled fashion and the city's happy with it, the Park and Rec Department is happy with it, and the commission, and you need more space, then you do have the possibility of using the post office parking lot and the basketball court and some other areas like that as well, if you know, if there's a demand. So it's not like we have to just look at only the grassy area of the community park. Thanks.
Thank you. Come forward.
Okay, well, I would like to get up now.
Round two.
And so I have an idea also about the Day in the Park, the DIP, and maybe make it a 2-day event, since you go through all that trouble and get all those tents and do all that work already. Have it be a 2-day event, and then there is more people and more opportunities for more sales for nonprofits and businesses. So you might think about that. There you go.
Thank you, Jeanette.
No way I'm working 2 days on that.
Okay, well, along with the Lions Club again. I just want to clarify, I don't want to appear that I'm opposed to opening the event up to businesses. I think it would be a good idea for businesses to have a table so people are aware of what businesses are in Brisbane and what services are available locally, because what I'm trying to do with our current events is source our supplies locally and use the local businesses. And on the thought of expanding Day in the Park, thought I'd have is take, was it Park Lane out there, and make a whole street fair out of it. There's a lot of room, and it wouldn't be that difficult to block it off for a weekend.
So I love all this great brainstorming. I just wanted to comment that it doesn't have to be, you know, we have our Day in the Park as it is right now, and then it's an extravaganza, and we have 3 blocks in 2 days. It doesn't have to go to that extreme growth right away. I think when we're talking about expanding it, right now, you could just look at the businesses that have come to you and asked, not talking about doing outreach to businesses. You know, I mean, obviously, I think it would be great to invite everyone. I do think we should do that. But I'm saying for this year, accommodate the businesses that have inquired for this year. And it's not going to require expanding to another block or expanding that much more in the park. We probably have, 4 or 5 people here that would like tables. I don't think it's a big impact for this year's festival. So just a thought. And then invite everyone for next year and do some outreach and see what happens. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? No. Okay, with that, I would like to do the first comment. And first of all, I would like to apologize to any of you who feel like you were offended by this commission. That is not our intention whatsoever. We did not mean to offend anybody with this Day in the Park, so I apologize. And second, I want to state that there is no written policy, nothing written in stone. A past commission established a verbal agreement because it was a family community event. I want everybody to be clear of that. They keep going this policy. This event has always been a community resource, a family, friends day. And it has evolved to a fun day. And I believe that's why we, or the previous commissions, changed the name again to Day in the Park for everyone who is a partner in this community. As I said before, we have grown from a little carnival at BES. And a lot of your suggestions that you have said for future, there has been conversations, because we have grown, we have evolved, as I said. We, like I said, from the little carnival, and the kids came down, from the Halloween costumes, we had the costume parade,
Marching band.
the marching band, the soccer band. So we have really evolved and changed and tried to make it better. So I just wanted to say that for my part. And now I would like to hear from the other commissioners, and I'm going to start with you, Commissioner Davis.
Okay. Well, what I think is great about our town and all of you that have shown up is not only do you point out where you think something is faulty, but you give suggestions. So that really makes, I think, our job a lot easier. It's great to hear people actually putting thought into, not only pointing out something that's not working great, but all the steps that we can take to make it better. Personally, I really think that businesses should be included. I've thought that ever since I was a child, asking, our own personal business, asking my mom, hey, how come we don't have a booth? Because I just thought it would be great to be on the cash register or something. And I was told, oh, no, we can't do that because, it's only reserved for nonprofits. And so as a kid, I was like, well, that's not fair. And then it kind of just, left my mind. And now I think I'm in a position where it's come up again and we can actually, do something about it and I can be part of that dialogue. So I'm very grateful for that. But I would like to see some changes being made. And I think, as many of you said, it would support businesses and nonprofits together. And I just want the Day in the Park to be something that benefits everyone and is definitely a community event. And there's no exclusionary, practices happening. So that's my personal thought. Thank you all for coming.
Okay, Commissioner Bolgoff?
I think it's possible that this would really work well, but I think there's a space thing, so it can't be everyone. Like you said, the ones that already have shown an interest. But I think there has to be a cutoff point because we're so crammed in there. Time you put up the tents, the nonprofits, the artists, the fire department, the police department. So I think it's possible and it would probably work, but it has to be kind of limited, I think. I don't think it can be 50 businesses, let's pick a number. And that's the only thing that I would think is limited if you open it up. And people come and want to do it other than we advertise, come one, come all. So that's how I feel.
Commissioner Lentz?
I thank you all for coming out today. And last year, after last year's Day in the Park, we started talking about enhancing and revitalizing Day in the Park. And we never really had a full, fleshed out discussion about this. And I think that if we had, we might have discussed bringing in businesses at that time, because we're just trying to think of ways to liven it up, to make it seem a little different from year to year, to add a little bit more interest. And I think right now, having you all here and expressing your thoughts is a wonderful opportunity for us to assess the city policies and rethink this. So I would suggest that we come up with a mission statement for Day in the Park, and I just happened to jot something down while you guys were talking. And after Commissioner Dunn speaks, if the rest of the commission is interested, if it's a starting point, I can read you what I have, and we can perhaps start crafting something that we all feel comfortable with so that we can talk about how we can be more inclusive and welcoming to businesses in town. So be curious to hear what you have to say. Commissioner Dunn?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Walt and Tony and Dan and Danette and Karen and Kevin and Jennifer, and I see you back there, Juanita, and Alejandra, who was here. Each and every one of you have gifted us with your time and the efforts that you've made to think about this in a way that is going to make it a lot easier for anybody who's going to be working on this in the future. Working on it now and working in it in the future. And many of you brought up the word change. And I want to talk a little bit about that. I find change exciting. And I've got a perfect example for you. For those of you who haven't realized it, I'm wearing a Brisbane skateboard t-shirt. There's a reason. As you may know, I was very against it. Not the concept, but the fact of not big enough, we need more. But I spent a lot of time talking to youth, community members, people invested in the skateboard park, and people who really had put a lot of time into it and could explain to me what I didn't know, which was a lot. I don't know a lot about that kind of skating. I'm too old. We didn't have those kinds of things. But I think none of us are ever too old, too tired, too whatever, to not change. Change is the thing that keeps us alive, and it's going to make this new invigoration part of our day in the park. So I'm really excited about it. I'm absolutely thrilled that the community has come, and because we would have to sit and think about every little thing and all, every jot and tittle and all the iterations we have to do, but we don't, because you've brought so many things to us that are going to make it possible for us to put this information together and come up with something that will be usable, feasible. And we now have our community members who are our resources for information. We know who you are. You've presented yourself, and there are others who have sent emails. So I'm really grateful to you, and I don't see any reason why it can't expand. I'm tremendously in favor of change. I don't see anything that is a major obstacle or even an obstacle. I don't even see why we can't fix some things, whatever's possible to fix before the next, the one that's happening now. We can do some things for this one and not have to say for next year, because as Commissioner Lentz said, we talked about this last year, and guess what? It didn't get fixed. So it's going to get fixed. So there's no reason why we can't do something now and fix it for now and then expand it and fix it better for the future. So I'm thrilled. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
I have one question for staff. Do they have to have a business license?
Yes. Any business that does business in town needs a business license.
Okay. Pardon me? Do the artists, does everybody that has a table down there or participates in this event have to have a business license?
I believe so. I'd have to check on the artists, but every vendor that we deal with that's in town does have a business license. Every business that works within the town should have a business license.
What about the entertainment?
Yes.
They all have to have a business
Yes.
license? Okay. Yeah, come up.
So my question about that would be, I work for a corporation that operates out of New Jersey. I'm an independent contractor, and they issue me a 1099. So I work for a company that's located somewhere else. What's the process for getting a business license, and do I have to go through my company or go through the city?
You would ask. I mean, we can talk about it.
Because I don't.
As part of my finance job, what it would be is the amount of profit that is earned within the city that you do within the city of Brisbane. So, like you working at home would produce profit for you here.
Right.
That would be what would be considered your gross receipts within Brisbane.
Okay, so because the way it works is I work for a company that operates out of New Jersey, and I'm an independent contractor for them. So I show you my 1099 and I say, this is what I made.
Right, that would be your gross.
And then you would do something.
Right.
Would you tax that? Would you?
Well, there's a business license fee, so the fee is
Okay.
progressive.
Interesting.
From $0 to $50,000, it's $50. From
Okay.
$50,000 to $100,000, it's $100.
Is it
$100,000.
an instant application? Like I can walk
Yes.
in and walk out with it? Great. Okay. Perfect.
Jennifer, wouldn't you like to be paying $100 for your license?
I'll do whatever I need
But
to do.
But I'm saying the difference is if she pays $100, it's because she's making a lot more
Yeah.
money.
Yes.
So wouldn't you like to pay?
I would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do any other commissioners have questions for staff on this?
Well, I'd like to say something. The staff really gives everything their best shot, And I think they're pretty much in the situation that we're in. There are not many of them, and we try to put feelers out in the community to try to get as much information as we can about what do you want? What can we do? What do we know we should do? And how best can we do it? And those are things that we're in this boat with the staff. We try to share information among us, and having you really involved is going to make a tremendous difference in how things get done. So I think we've done, what we could do, and now it's time for change, and you've made that clear. So that's clear.
Okay, I have a question. Because there was never a written policy, and this was just established because they wanted to involve I believe it's, and you might have to help me, Danette, because this is back, when I was the commission 94, 98, and we were doing the family festival. We came down, and then when it was still at the park, it was the family festival, and the nonprofits all came. It was more, well, we really didn't call them nonprofits. It was the community resource, and we helped promote them. And I'm just trying to wrap my head around how we got up with this verbal agreement that we were just going to do that. And we just stuck with it.
Right. I mean, my understanding is that this has been an issue that has been periodically raised with the Day in the Park or Community Festival or Family Festival Subcommittee. I think last year when we had a couple of businesses come in, we asked the subcommittee, and the subcommittee said, if the policy has been that way in the past, that they would want to keep it that way. And I think, as more businesses have come in and asked about it, I think if the commission wants to make the change,
Yeah.
they just get to make, you can make the change. It's not something that's formally written.
Yeah.
It's not something approved by council.
Yeah.
So if the commission would like to make that change tonight and give staff different direction, then we will go with a different direction from the commission.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I don't think we should sit on this very long.
Oh, no.
And I think that's exactly what we ought to do. I think we ought to make some move on this tonight.
I agree.
We've got our community here. They've let us know what they want to do. And we all seem to be, in accordance, in acuerdo, iba a decir, pero okay. Sometimes I forget what language I'm
Yeah.
speaking. We're all in accord, and we can have the staff support. So what would we wait for?
No, I'm not, when Karen said something about a mission statement, then
That's
I'm
what I was
just kind of thinking, well, then are we going to get back into something that, it's going to come back, well, your mission statement says this, and we can't do this, and
That's
I
right.
want it, so it's always going to be able to evolve and change.
Maybe it's
that we
not
aren't
time to make a
something that-
mission statement. Maybe it's
Well, I don't
time
know,
to-
I'd like to hear a mission statement. Maybe your mission statement would have one of those little winding roads.
Maybe we don't
knows
call it a mission statement, but it's something that helps us define our focus
Yeah,
and helps us to make decisions. And can I tell you what I propose?
sure, yes, I'd love to
Just
hear.
throw it out there. It's a start, right? Okay, so this is what I wrote. Day in the Park is a vibrant day of community building and civic pride that raises awareness of local organizations and businesses while providing entertainment for all ages.
Love it.
How's that?
And love to see the word fun in there somewhere, because it's such
While
a...
providing fun entertainment.
Yes.
Yes, Tony.
Okay.
It seems like, by the reaction of the citizens here this evening, that was a good job you did with that, Commissioner Lentz. And Commissioner Marmion, you seem to be asking the staff or wondering whether or not there was something that would prevent the commission from taking a position and making a statement this evening, although to your understanding, it sounds like you're pretty sure that there was no written policy.
Oh, there is no written
Okay,
policy.
So if there is no written policy,
no written policy.
then it would seem to me that all you have to do is simply entertain a motion
yeah.
and create a resolution, and it's done.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you very
That's
much.
true.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
That's true.
But I just wanted to make that clear to everybody because they, everybody thinks, well, your policy, your policy, your policy, and I know.
Well, thank you for that, Karen.
Okay,
That was
okay.
wonderful. I do have a question on one little word that was in the mission statement, and that's the word local. And so therefore, I don't want that to become something, and I don't know if you're adopting that particular wording right now, but I think you just need to be careful what that means, because somebody else might then say next time, oh, you have to be in this city, and maybe a business wants to participate that's in South City. Maybe a business wants to participate that's in Visitation Valley or San Francisco. So I really think you need to be a little bit more open-minded and not restrict it to businesses that are located only in Brisbane.
Okay.
I think that's really important. So I don't want you to get locked into something that
Yeah.
somebody else is going to come down the road
right.
and going to get turned away. And it may be a wonderful, and probably a lot of the equipment, probably 100% of the equipment you rent is not from Brisbane that comes here.
Yeah.
So you have to keep that in mind.
Sure. That's
All right? So
Yeah, see, that's why I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Now, if we write something, it's
Yeah.
writing, it's
well,
written.
you could just make a motion to allow
Yeah, that's
businesses
true.
and tweak it later and work on all that later.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, well, I need somebody to make a motion, or we
All right.
motion now?
I move
Okay,
that beginning immediately, as of today, that we are going to be opening our Day in the Park to those who apply with the thought, and that would be business, nonprofit, recreational, with the thought that we do not have businesses that are competing with the Brisbane businesses that have in the past supported this community and are part of this community, and that when we have competitive businesses that are coming in, that are new, that those that get in first, get first. And if we get
okay,
to a
wait, that's
point-
an awful long, I'm getting
It's
all
trying to be long as I
confused.
see this is going
Yeah.
on. Let's,
So let me, so what
Yes.
you're,
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
suggesting
thank you.
is that we have, with the upcoming Day in the Park, that we would allow businesses to have tables, that we would charge a rate for those tables. I'm imagining, because that's part of what I heard earlier, and that we would not have any for-profit business competing with any of what the nonprofits are providing that day. That if there were businesses that provided the same service or the same type of service, that it would be on a first-come, first-served basis. So if, for instance, Tony wanted to have a table and Johnny Nava wanted to have a table, we would only have one of the insurance companies having a table there.
I don't
No,
know.
I don't
don't
Well,
want that.
that's what I
Okay.
heard.
I understand that.
I know.
So if that's not it, then
But let's see how we can, we've got a motion going. Let's see how we can fix that motion to.
You know,
What
it's,
is the motion?
it's like going to the grocery store and they have 3 things of mayonnaise,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, yeah. And it's a day in the park. And if those 3 businesses are in Brisbane, why can't those 3 businesses be a day in the park?
Can I have a question? Can we just make a motion to allow businesses to have a table at the Day in the Park, and then if we want to hash out a mission statement, policies, people have brought up like, giving part of their proceeds, like I think all of that takes time to figure out. And so I feel like right now the key issue is let's get Jennifer a table, and if Karen wants a table, whoever wants a table right now, this is what they want, get them their table, and then we can all spend time and hash out that discussion that we've been talking about, because that needs to happen. Because we can come over here and say, like, in the heat of the moment, make a decision, and that could bite us,
Yeah.
in the end. So
Madison, are you making this motion?
I'm making a motion.
Hold on a minute, I have
Well, thank you,
one
Commissioner
citizen.
Dunn and Commissioner Davis. I would just like to say, I think that's a great idea. I think when you start putting, this one can't compete against that one, and we can't have more than one of these, that you're getting to really dangerous territories. And that's
where we were.
preferred vendor status, which is what I mentioned in my second letter that I wrote. That's really dangerous, and that's not good. And that's not healthy.
Not good business.
Okay, so you need to work on this, but really think about it as you tweak it throughout the year in your mission statement. And I think right now Commissioner Davis just said, let's just open up to business and not have all this stipulation, because it's going to get you in trouble. And then you should run it by the city attorney and see what he thinks, because I'm pretty sure he would be alarmed if he heard what's been going on all these years. Thank you.
Okay.
One comment?
Yes, quick.
Yes. I'm not concerned about competition, so it doesn't matter to me how many people come and want to talk about insurance, or if we have 5 realtors there. As long as there's space, it's not a problem to me who's there. But I would suggest that for those of us businesses that have our own tables, chairs, and tents and things like that, we shouldn't be charged to be there, because I'm looking at it as a public service. I'm not expecting to be selling anybody anything that day. When I did the Zippy race last year, I guess was the first time around, I did the same thing. I was able to participate, answer some people's questions. A whole bunch of kids just loved to meet our dogs, and that was all it was all about. So I would just thank Commissioner Davis for her motion and Commissioner Dunn for seconding it. And
Oh, no,
We haven't
nothing's
really
been
done
first
it.
or second.
Seconded.
We
I
haven't
thought she
even
did
got
it.
the motion.
No, we
We
just,
haven't
Well,
even got the motion.
Okay, I thought she had.
No.
I apologize, but I thought I heard
I can do that though.
So anyway, when you get around to the motion that seems to be working its way through the table now, I would hope that you can just clarify that if somebody needs support from the city, if they need tables or chairs or something like that, that's fine to charge them for that. If they don't need anything, we're bringing our own, maybe you can just not charge us. Thank you.
Through the chair.
Okay, wait,
Or go
wait
ahead.
one thing. Do we charge right now for the tables? We do. What's the fee?
We charge $50.
$50. Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes, yes.
My only comment to that is one of the great things about having the tables already provided is that it's like some uniformity just in like aesthetically, the design of the day. When people start bringing in their own tables, then it's like different sizes and, they're supposed to line up evenly with each other. But if we're not going to get into that discussion, the only other thing is tables take up space. And if there are people who are there for free because they brought their own materials, that could be taking up space for somebody who could pay. And we are a city, and part of this is about providing a day of fun for everyone. But also, we have costs, and this is an opportunity for us. We get back some of the money that we put in. So I would think that maybe charging less, if we did decide to go with that policy, charging less because someone else is bringing their own materials, but maybe a fee for the space. So kind of in between, maybe 25 or whatever.
Plus, we do have other event or entertainment areas, so we have to keep those spaces open for those.
Yeah, we think we have space for 12 tables.
But I think the motion
12
just
tables?
I think the motion just for right now is just to get like businesses there, and then that would be stuff that we would hash out.
Let's
Okay.
Can I
One-
say something? As
one
much
more.
as I want you to pass this motion, I just want to say something, because back to preserving the spirit and character of our festival, I love that you want to pass the motion to invite businesses to participate. You might want to add something like subject to the discretion of the Parks and Rec commissions, because what if, Hooters wants a table? Right? I'm just
That
saying.
would be a free speech issue. I would be very
Okay, that's
concerned
a bad
from a
example
city
because Dan Carter
perspective.
supports that. Okay. But what if Starbucks? I mean, what if big franchises want tables? So I just have a thought that you might want to add something like subject to the discretion of the
I would be
commission.
very concerned if the Parks and Recreation Commission chose one company over another.
Yeah.
That would become, gets back
I
to
don't want
what
to get
Danette
sued
was
by
saying.
Starbucks.
You could sit there and say that there could be no profit. That one couldn't be, but if you say, I like
But doesn't it have to fit the family-friendly atmosphere? I mean, when you're talking about the criteria that you're
how-
going to establish.
then you get into an argument over it.
Hey, one
Okay,
person
you can
talking.
talk, but let me finish. Is that if you are going to call it a family-friendly community festival, and you're going to take this time to establish the criteria of what that means, right, and your mission statement, and you're going to go open it up to businesses, the implicit understanding is that the businesses that are participating are family-friendly, possibly local, possibly from nearby communities. But I'm just saying, when you're passing this motion, I personally would like to see that you have something that says subject to the discretion of the Parks and Rec Commission, so that you're not locked into approving someone that you don't think is a good fit for the festival for very valid reasons, whatever that could be. I don't know.
Well,
So just a thought.
then we might run back and.
While you're forming
You,
the
Hula
criteria.
Frog, they might go, well, we don't think you're a good fit.
Right, but I mean, until you have your policy in place. I just mean like a temporary.
I think we would just make the motion right now, just like
Go
to
ahead.
go,
I
and
want
then we're
somebody
gonna
to make
hash
the
it all
motion
out.
and make it please
Figure it
clear
all
and
out.
not long,
Yeah.
because I'll get lost in
Simple.
translation. Okay,
All the
who's making the motion?
I will make the motion.
Or do you?
Okay.
That's okay, go ahead.
I move to allow businesses to participate with a table or, for-profit businesses to participate at the Day in the Park with the table, effective immediately.
I second it.
And we just, no more than 12.
No more than 12.
'cause
That's what we have space
Okay.
for.
I want somebody, staff, would you please repeat that motion back?
Want me to re-say it? I can redo it.
Thank you.
I
Yeah.
don't think I got it all completely
Okay.
exact, but Commissioner Davis made a motion to open for-profit businesses, to the for-profit businesses that want a table right now, up to 12 tables. Did I get that close?
At the Day in the Park.
Well, it's on record. We have a video.
Yeah,
So we'll get it.
I can get the exact wording later, but
Right.
I can't write that fast, so. Seconded by Commissioner Dunn.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So done. The motion. Thank you all for coming and giving us all your feedback. It really helps. And once again, Day in the Park has evolved. So it's very nice. And I would really like to pull out some of my old pictures of when we had it down at
That would
VS.
be fun.
They used to put up little sheets and the kids crawled through the sheets. It was hysterical.
They used to
Yeah.
have like people on stilts and stuff.
Yeah. So it really
was
has.
a
So
thing.
thank you very much, public. Okay, moving on. Reports, chairperson. I have nothing to report. No, so I have nothing to
Wait,
report.
do we, okay.
Okay. Subcommittees, subcommittee reports.
I'll do the hydrant, and then,
Okay.
do you want to do programs, and Commissioner Lentz, do you want to do teen services?
Sounds good?
Okay, so fire hydrants met again, and Commissioner Dunn and I worked on an article for the Luminary, which should have been printed on Monday. So just getting people aware of this upcoming event, and it discusses the history with it being started by the Women's Club. So it's a really great article. You guys should read it when it comes out. And we made an updated list of all the hydrants ranked from easy, medium, and hard, so that when people go to sign up, they can kind of review what's available and know, what their skill set, which kind of fire hydrants would be best for them. And then we are currently setting up the registration process so people can register in advance. And at our next meeting, we're going to be discussing flyers and then email blasts to the Mob, Silver Spot, Brisnet, and a bunch of other, local email groups that we have going. The flyers will go out in the Thursday packets with the kids at BES and Panorama, and I think maybe in the virtual packet or like a hard copy in the Littman one. So we're really excited. I'm touching base with some local artists to see if anyone's interested in having one of the blank hydrants that they can decorate and paint, which would be really great. And I'm also contacting the Sacramento Bee because they wrote that great article for us. So I'd love for them to come.
Except
And
they said it was moms that did it.
I know, but they corrected later on. They interviewed somebody who didn't know what they were talking about, and they said, I think it was the mob, but it wasn't. So I'd love for them to come and take pictures, and I also touched base with some local photographers, so maybe we could have them there to photograph and then hopefully have an exhibit somewhere in town. So it's going to be a really great event, and I think people are getting really excited about it.
And the date on that again
It's
is?
the 11th and 12th of October from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. both days. And actually, what's really exciting is that the Lions Club actually said that they would donate the money that we need for the paints and the supplies in honor of, can you
Yes.
tell me his name?
Phil Korn, who's a member of the Lions Club, a longtime member. His son passed away, and what we generally do is buy flowers or something, some kind of memorial. And the Lions Club spoke to Phil, and he said, is there something we can do that his son was very active, he's very much into the field of recreation and sports. And, we were talking at the Lions Club meeting, and I said, well, we've got something coming up. We were trying to hammer out a budget. Remember when the last meeting?
Yeah.
Can we please get a budget? We get a budget, so we know what we're doing, and we weren't coming up with one. And so I said, well, there is something coming up, and that is a painting, repainting, and painting of new fire hydrants, which is a tradition in Brisbane. And, my understanding is everything's going to come from Brisbane Hardware. Easily we could pick up things there. If the club, and I had to do it then, if the club wants to make that agreement to give the money for the painting of the hydrants, and then we will paint one hydrant in memory of his son.
Giant theme.
Preferably in a giant shirt with his name on it somewhere, Corin and his shirt. And so we talked about that in the meeting, and I guess that's going to go.
You and I talked about it, and I think that's wonderful. I'm really excited that the Lions Club is going to partner with us on this. And I was also thinking Jeannie Berman Hosking started kind of the whole program with Vicki Hobson, and Vicki has a Buddy Boop hydrant in her honor, and a lot of people in our town have one in their honor, like the B-Lar.
The one that started it was Nancy Moritz. Her husband was the fire chief, and that's where she
Was she the one from Belmont? Somebody was from Belmont and then brought the idea
No.
to here.
Uh-huh.
Well,
But I know that it started with the Women's Club.
yes, it did.
And I know Nancy Moritz spearheaded it.
That's Dutch's wife, isn't that right? And they,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, they,
It wasn't Janine Hodge, it wasn't.
well, there are a group of people, I guess, who are involved in it.
Yes.
We're getting the names bit
Yes.
by bit.
Yes.
So, well, the person that I've been in contact with who was interviewed for the article and who had like all of the materials, like all the templates, and she is actually the one who the plug preserve is dedicated. She has a plaque with her name on it. I was thinking of it doing a theme, not a person or a character, but she likes to travel, so I was thinking of doing one with like airplanes and luggage and that maybe binoculars or something like that. We can, if someone's super opposed to that idea, I mean, we can scrap it, but I just thought it would be great to honor her, and I don't think it would have her name on it or anything, but we have a bunch of blank hydrants, so I was just trying to think of a really meaningful way that we can decorate them and have them, have some deeper meaning to them. So that was way longer than I expected that to take. Sorry.
What other,
Well, in the program,
Okay.
in the program committee, we met, and what we're trying to do is to determine what is the goal of providing recreation programming in the city. What goal do we have? And since goals are almost never fully achieved unless there's a certain amount of money you're wanting to reach, and you can say, we reached that goal. We wanted to set objectives that would lead us to fulfillment of that goal as best we can. So we questioned at first, what has been the process in the past for deciding on programs. And the first word that came out was inertia, and that things are historical, that we have an after-school program, quasi-child care, and that we do stuff to keep kids busy between 3 and 6. There are contract instructors who come with their own ideas, and we try to do things that aren't being done elsewhere. So after looking at that, we had a decision that if we set some concrete objectives that are measurable, and we can say, we're going to do this, and did we do it? We're accountable, and we're heading in a direction of a goal to achieve. And one of the first things we started working on was, what can we do with the groups, the classes that we presently have, to support them and to enhance them. And we decided on taking a look at how we support our instructors, how we support our coaches, and how we keep them involved as time goes on. And we brought out the flyers for recent programs that are being done. We looked at them. They were quite well done. We decided that there might need some tweaking about how to inform people and get information back from them regarding their interest. And we decided also that it's really important that if we have an instructor who's offered to do something, that there is a real all-out effort to make sure that we get people enrolled in those classes. That we don't have somebody come, offer to do a group, and the time they offer to give it is in the summer, and then we schedule them in the fall, which is totally against what their schedule is. So the kind of interest is kind of sketchy at that point. Then we can't get people in it because we don't do a lot of real promotion, and the thing falls away. As an example, the guitar class that just died. What a tremendous loss to us that we had that opportunity for our kids and others, and it's gone. So what we're doing right now is looking at each of the classes that we have, the groups that we have, and to find out why people are coming or not coming. And we've talked about doing a survey to see what, in fact, people would like that we don't have. And we're going to flesh that out in another meeting. We have a meeting coming up on the 30th. We decided also to do something that's a little less traditional and really pick up with the social media in terms of promoting our classes, and where we would post also our notices so that postings would be in multiple places, and to not have people say, well, I didn't found out late, or I passed the deadline. I think if somebody passes a deadline, we ought to still try to get them in if they're interested, because we're losing people otherwise. We're going to manipulate, manipulate was the word, the URL, to make it a little more sexy, so that we...
It's easier to get to.
It's easier to get to. Yeah, it's going to be easier to get to, and it will. Hopefully, it'll make it more enticing. And also, I think that in our meeting on the 30th, we're going to progress with this and try to really firm up this objective, head for another one, so that we can reach the goal that we're setting for programming. That we're not just doing things. We really know why we're doing it, and then we know how we're doing it, and we can measure whether or not we did achieve each objective.
Good plan.
All right.
Good plan.
Teen Services also met. We just met this week. We spoke about reviving the Yak and met with a member of the community, Miranda Sully, who was very interested, which was terrific.
She was great.
And we decided to split the Yak into middle school and high school, because the age ranges are so wide, and that they can meet separately, but then they can also meet together, so that there can be some connection that way too. We We'll meet again in about 2 weeks. We'll check the space and times for the meetings. For middle school, we're thinking that it could be part of the 2-hour after-school program at Littman. High school, probably at City Hall in the evenings. And we also brainstormed ways to get the word out about YAC, because that's always been a little tricky. And we also brainstormed some suggested programs that the YAC can discuss in projects, and just some ideas, something to get them started. So we will let them take the initiative, but we thought it might be nice to also give them a little list of some suggested topics, just as a little start for them. So we will revisit this in a couple of weeks and get this going as soon as possible.
It's great that it's going.
Really excited.
Other subcommittees?
I think we
Well, we met for,
Oh my
Hey,
gosh, we met today.
we met for Day in the Park, to
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about the entertainment
Oh, yeah.
and the structures that, activity structures that we're going to be having. And we still have one that we have to choose between, and Russ and I already talked today a little bit, and maybe after the meeting, if you could stay, we could maybe finalize that up. You think that'd be good, Russ? Then we can make that decision. But it looks like we're gonna have some nice stuff. Might not be able to get one activity that we wanted, but possibly we'll have it for next year, because we'll be able to have the space, accommodate the space. So that's what's going with that. And then we also met for, oh, I'm sorry.
Just to tag on to that, through the chair, I thought it might be a good idea, since we were talking about Day in the Park, I volunteer to walk around with a clipboard and get some feedback from folks during the event, if you guys think that's a good idea. I don't know if anyone else would be interested in doing it.
That's a good idea for each of us.
Yeah.
Get a sign on that says you're a Park and Rec Commissioner, and walk around, see what people have to say, and write
Don't you
it down.
think? Yeah.
Renee and I will be working at the Derby.
Yeah, the Derby.
so-
Okay,
We're
okay.
gonna
Well,
be
I'll
there,
volunteer, and Jamie, you want to do a little bit too? And we'll just walk around and take a little pulse of what's going on and see what the citizens think.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. We can wear stethoscopes, and we're taking your pulse.
Yeah.
You think?
Okay, that's great. And then we met for the Derby and just kind of set up, what, not all the volunteers have their positions as of yet, but it'll all come together, and we talked about what we're going to be doing. So we'll probably have to have another, maybe not a formal get-together, but a phone call just from Russ, so we know where everybody is. From, Billy.
Monday, right?
Yeah. Monday night, that's right.
Cool.
Monday night. What time is that? I'm going to say 6:15. Okay, Monday night, 6:15. Okay, thank you, Russ.
Renee?
Yes.
Do you happen to know, I don't know a lot about the Derby, quite frankly. I'd like to know, is there a repository for old cars, a place where somebody could, because I saw on Facebook that somebody in town was looking for a car, wanting to get one to use. So do we know if there are any available that we could make it known on Facebook, find this person and say, we've got them, or we're putting it out to the community that we're looking for one. Someone on Facebook is looking for one, and if you let us know, we can notify them.
Well, we have about 11 sponsors now, correct, Russ? And we have 14 racers. I don't know how many cars do we don't have any cars.
They're all taken up right now.
Yeah. So they got to build their cars. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The school had some of the cars that were left over, they were donated to the school.
those are gone, yeah, yeah.
Eagles Club has offered to build a car for whatever child. We have companies in town that build cars. We will do our best to make sure that any child
Yeah.
gets a car. Even if they need to share a car, we have provisions in the rules that they can share a car with
All right.
a child.
Yeah.
We're going to work down, try and get everybody who wants to be in the program in the program.
I have a question.
If somebody's interested, they need to contact the Parks and Recreation
Right.
Department.
Right.
We kind of talked about this in my meeting, but I just want to make sure I have clarification. So you showed me the packet of all the parts earlier. So is that given, they spend $100, the family, and then do they get that packet and it's their responsibility to build the car unless they can get one that's like been already, pre-assembled before? Or is it like the businesses always build the cars for the kids?
Oh, no.
Process is that the family with the child would, in the best of all worlds, would build the car.
Okay, that's how I understood it.
Not everybody can do that, but the $100 is simply a deposit.
A deposit.
So that people who take the kit don't forget about it, throw it in the corner, it happens.
Yeah.
But if you have a car, do not pay any fee. It's an open race, the businesses in town support the race.
Okay.
Okay. So is that it for all the subcommittees?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're going to set up subcommittee meetings. Well, we already know Monday at 6:15 is the Derby. What's that date? 22nd? Okay. Any other?
We have teen services and hydrants already. And do we have programs? I don't know.
We do. The third-
Yeah, we have a bunch of them already set.
Scheduled.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't
Trish
remember
has
what
the
day, but
schedule.
yes.
I brought the ones that we just set up.
Did we set up teen services?
We
I thought we looked at some dates.
did
you have a
not
date?
set up teen services.
Well, we
'cause
just
you
met
guys
last night.
met last night, so no one's talked to me about that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I brought that with me. We did set up for rec programs. I thought I brought those with me, I'm sorry. And then we set up for the
Hydrants.
twice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So those are the ones we set up. So in 2 weeks? On the 30th?
Next week,
The
hydrants. The
23rd.
week after that
And
is,
the 7th is hydrants.
yeah, and then in between that is
30th is
programs.
And the 30th is rec program.
And I think we suggested a date, but you didn't have your calendar. So
Yeah,
we're gonna
I think
look
we're
at
talking
it.
about the 30th as well.
Yeah, and
Remember talking about doubling up for you?
Yeah, again.
That works for me.
Okay.
So we can do the 30th of September, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, same time.
For teen services.
Teen services,
Teen services.
That would be great. Thanks,
Yeah.
Tricia.
30th, at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
Anybody else need to meet?
I don't think so. Let me
Okay.
look at the list though and just double
Yeah.
check. Let me just take a quick look at this list.
I think the last time we were going to try to do seniors. I don't think we got that in.
no, we
Did you
did.
guys need to do that?
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah. I'll try to get something together and send that out to everybody.
Have we had any more discussions about Rhythmics? We're waiting for them, right?
Yes, the people that are able to do the tours with us are also performers. And so it only took us 3 years to finally say, yes, we were going to go. We had permission from them that long ago. And then we just said to them, all right, we're ready. So they're now trying to get ready around their schedule. They have a really comprehensive schedule there in addition to their performing schedule. So, but we'll probably hear from them soon.
Okay.
I have something a little out of order, I'm sorry. But back in subcommittee reports, for public art, we didn't officially meet, but I just wanted to let everyone know that public art ordinance is going to council this week.
Oh, good.
Great.
Good.
So hopefully we have some good news.
Yeah.
I anticipate that we'll have good news, but yes, that's happening this week, tomorrow.
Okay, so commissioners. Anybody have anything, commissioners?
Yes?
Oh, okay.
You want to go ahead?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. I had many emails sent to me in the last couple of days. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to send your concerns to us. And I'm going to make sure that they're addressed by the appropriate persons. Some will go to staff, and some may go to subcommittees, ultimately, things that we can work on. There are a couple I can share with you. One was something regarding the pool, and I thought it came in a little late, so it's hard to get it on agendas and discussions and so forth. But it was a fairly simple thing that we can bring up, and that is that people who are attending or using the pool often have difficulty parking, and that they asked if staff who come into work could park not in the front because they get there early, not in the immediate front because they get there early, but on, sort of the ends, so that people who are using the pool, particularly those who may have a need to be close to the entrance, that we could do that. And I thought, I'll present that. I don't think that's a big deal. It's something that easily can be talked about with the staff. And do we have someone there that's a registration all the time, somebody at the desk? Because I heard that there's nobody there at the desk and people come in and stand there and say, hello, hello, hello.
Depending on what time of year it is, if it's during the summer, we have somebody at the desk. During the fall, winter, and early spring, we don't. We only have the 2 lifeguards. So sometimes what will happen is we'll have a lifeguard change.
I see.
Where you might have somebody where both lifeguards will be on the deck while they're changing out. So that might be part of it. Oftentimes, and usually the lifeguard who is not on duty will be sitting in the office with the door open. So if I walk up there a lot and just say, say hi. They'll come up and take your money.
Is that ever something we could consider having volunteers who wanted to work a desk?
We've tried that.
I see.
I mean, the challenge is you start working with money, go through a different process.
There's like a really comprehensive exam that you have to take, I'm pretty sure, to be considered for the cashier position.
Well-
I know somebody who took it, and actually know 2 people who took it, and they have all these things where it's like
How do you make change?
a certain amount of time and so
Yes.
many bills, and then looking at counterfeit and selecting which ones are the counterfeit ones. So the people who are hired definitely go through a process to make sure that they're qualified in certain aspects of handling money.
But a good percentage of the year, we don't have somebody there. Can
Not specifically.
Yeah.
Can we put appropriate signage up or a method whereby people coming in the door can be told where somebody is, or can we have a bell on the desk?
Yeah, that's just what I was writing.
That's a
Bell
good
at
idea.
desk.
Buzzer.
Something that says, hello, I'm here, rather than having someone stand there hoping someone will come and take care of their needs. Also, the concerts in the park, I'm getting a lot of feedback about the fact that concerts in the park ended too soon, that the weather is lovely, and Friday night is coming, and people are saying, gee, wouldn't this be great to have a concert? And I said, we go through this every year. Somebody would like it sooner, others would like it later. We want more, we want fewer. I also got feedback that, maybe we don't need to have the most expensive bands that we have seen. A couple of really good members of the community have their bands up, and we might want to look to see if there are others. So this is a feedback that we can look at on Concerts in the Park committee when that comes up. Also, as I was coming over tonight, I was rushing to get here on time, didn't have time to stop at the basketball court, but there were kids hanging off the net. And as I got out of my car and came along, Dan Carter went by and said, did you see those kids hanging off the net and hanging from the... Yes. We do not still have 2 working basketball courts there. We have nets, 2 nets on different courts. And a suggestion I had was, if we want to have a short basket for small children, a very good place to put it is up at BES, because the times that you see a child or the parent using it is a daylight time, weekend time, and they're with a parent, and they could easily be taken to BES, and those courts could be fixed once and for all to be used by the people, the young people that are using it, younger and older people, but not lowering the baskets. And just have a stability with the right baskets, with the right nets. And when the nets get to the point that they hang such that a 5'5" kid can jump up, grab the nets, and swing back and forth so that they're pulled down more, which then pulls the rim down. I mean, it just seems incomprehensible to me that we can't fix this. I would like to see this get done. It's been the entire summer, and now we're in the fall. And these guys are letting me know about it. So, also, it would be nice for everybody to know that Ted, the dog father, Ted Reiterman at the dog park, brought volunteers in. Actually, I don't know exactly who the guys were, but he brought some people in on a weekend. He laid sod, he dug a trench, he painted furniture, and he still doesn't have a dog. But he's still doing it because he has this tremendous dedication to this area. So thank you, Ted. And we appreciate people in the community that are really dedicated to getting things done and following through. And we'll try to do everything we can to support that and support the work you do. Then the last thing was that a lot of people were saying, you know, I don't know that our opinion counts or that anybody really is listening, and that's not an unusual concern for people. In any organization, we're going to have people not feeling that they're being heard. So I'm really happy that they're sending emails about their issues, and I hope that they will be really encouraged to know that the staff and the commissioners and the administration particularly are going to see that you're heard, that we are supportive of your opinions, we want to know them, and that if our service hasn't been what it needs to be, you can count on it improving quickly. I hope that has addressed the many emails I got today along those lines. Thank you very much. Also, the last thing is concerts in the park. I want to reiterate that maybe we have an early meeting for concerts in the park and not leave it to just a meeting or just have somebody schedule the bands, but we have a meeting early.
We do that.
I know I'm on the commission, I'm
Yeah.
on the committee meeting, but I think even earlier to start fleshing out some of these things that.
Yeah, 'cause you start getting the bands in like December, January.
Beg your pardon?
I heard you start getting the bands, contacting the
Well,
bands
the
in
bands are
December or
caught them, but
January.
see, if the bands are brought in then, that means we already have dates. That means we've determined what season. That means we've determined
Yeah.
how long. And so I'm thinking we ought to have committee meeting before that.
You know, San Bruno, right now, they still have their concerts in the park. Yeah.
And the last concert just happened to have been the quintessential beautiful concert
Yeah.
time. It was beautiful, the weather was great, people were in terrific mood, and the next Friday was such a letdown. I thought, oh, man, wouldn't it be great to be going down to the park for a concert tonight? So, hope we can do that.
Maybe you should look like, you know, are really the best months
I know.
are September and October,
October.
and everybody's back from vacation, they're all back in school, they're all.
At the same
fucking-
time, though, it's like lighter earlier in the summer.
That has been the issue. But if we expanded the season and got more of our community bands involved, we might not be paying as much. We may have more concerts.
I don't know. My opinion is to like move it closer to July, June.
Weather's kind of iffy.
I mean,
The weather is so great, Madison.
Summer.
So that's, but anyway, let's meet.
no,
Yeah,
I agree.
you
I just
can
have what's
Take it to a subcommittee, yeah.
Through the chair, I just have a little comment to that. I think that this would be an excellent time to begin getting the word out about fundraising for next year's Concerts in the Park while the banner is still up in the park. And while the Star, which I think listed the sponsors, is still on everyone's home, I think this is the time to do it.
Would that be a fundraising subcommittee issue or like a concert?
Caroline writes the letters and gets us.
Well, now Steve does it.
No,
Steve Beatty does it. He goes out to the businesses.
Okay.
He took it from her this last.
when
She used to do it, and this last. Am I right? This last year, he took it. But like I had some fundraising ideas that we brought up kind of like a few meetings ago. So I don't know because I'm on fundraising, if that's falls into that or if it falls into.
I think it's worth
concert.
discussing at that subcommittee because there could be more ideas as to better ways to fundraise for concerts in the park. I think that's a place to do it.
Well, as I suggested, the bucket, like every other concerts in the park, a park and rec volunteer goes around and
Yeah.
they even do it at what's the park off of Sloat Street?
Stern Grove?
Stern Grove. Stern Grove's a great big one of that.
Shakespeare in the Park,
Yeah.
we always do that, yeah.
Yeah, so. Okay, staff, programs report.
Yeah, before we get to that, there is a person in the audience who is
Oh, I'm
waiting
sorry.
to speak. No, she missed oral the
Oh, dear.
citizens communications.
Oh,
I told her I was going to make her wait until
I'm so
right before
sorry.
staff.
Oh, dear.
She's on open space and ecology. She's used
Oh.
to 9:30 meetings.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, please don't apologize. I apologize that my meatloaf did not get out of the oven when I wanted it to.
Could you bring us some?
No, I
I'm
didn't,
hungry.
but if you come back.
I'll walk up with you.
I had a couple of things I wanted to put before this commission. Number one is, let me just start with kids, volunteers. I know my son and a lot of other kids actually put out a lot of time volunteering in this committee. And my son, it was Volunteer of the Year, and Dan Sorrentino was recognized, and that was really special because Dan Sorrentino puts in a lot of time. But my son was like, but I put in this hours doing this, and I did the lagoon cleanup, and I did, and I just think it would be inspirational if you had like a youth award for community volunteers, because I think it does help kids set up a pattern in their lives that good citizenship is a proactive engagement. You can't just passively be a good citizen. So I wanted to put that before the committee, that you maybe considered adding a youth category to volunteer recognition. Another thing that has sort of been bumping around in my head, and I put out there, and people seem to in general think it was a really good idea, is organizing some transportation as part of the after-school program over to the Crucible in Oakland. Because we all know that teenagers can be kind of angsty and difficult. And some kids are great taking that out in sports, and some kids are great for knitting class, but the really angsty ones, stick them in front of a forge. Let them go learn to blow glass. Something with a little edge to it, I think is going to appeal more to those kids that don't fit into your more conventional activities. And in my mind, the parents would probably need to pay the tuition, and the city could just maybe use its van to take a group of kids that sign up over there and back. So that, and maybe there would need to be a little additional fee for the transportation, the bridge toll. I have no personal issues about that. This commission can set it up however they think is most appropriate to work within the system. And I wanted to print out stuff for you, but my computer got some malware on it, so I had to shut it down. But their program starts about age 12. It runs after school. It's a couple $100. It's not super cheap because, they've got liability, I'm sure, big liability programs, insurance there. And they've just got all kinds of really interesting things, like I said, like intro to blacksmithing, glass blowing, welding, all kinds of really, because I think with the whole maker culture and the hands-on culture, it's really going to appeal to some kids that are being left out with the more conventional activities. Another thing is a friend of mine's son is taking zombie survival camp through the YMCA up in San Francisco. I emailed the YMCA to see if they would send me their itinerary. They were not kind enough to respond. But they do things like one day they have like animal tracking, and they could take them up, we could take kids up on San Bruno Mountain to do some like tracking stuff. And they have like a day of first aid. And then they have a day where they take them over to Pacific Archery over in Daly City and like let them all go shoot bows. And I just thought that again is another one of those activities that might appeal to some of your less conventionally minded youths. And the YMCA in San Francisco is actually doing that with a grade school set. But I think it could be done if we had a counselor, a camp counselor who was willing to take it on. I wish I could volunteer myself, but brain jelly. I think it could be done with either elementary school or middle school kids, and I think that it would be a hoot. The last thing has also been bumping around in my head for about a year, or more than a year probably, and I'm not even sure if it would, I think Park and Rec is where it would need to start from. I'm not really sure. Is that we banned fireworks here in Brisbane for very, very good reason a very long time ago. But I also, and I might have my facts a little off because this is an old conversation, but I believe the Lions made more on fireworks sales in a year than they did in all their other
It was Police and
fundraisers.
Wives Association, Police and Wives Association. And we had a
Wives-
trailer
okay.
down where the Bank of America is.
Yeah.
And we sold them every year.
Yeah. So thank you. I wasn't remember, but I was impressed by how much money it made.
It made a lot.
It made a lot. Okay, and our schools are still in trouble. California is still 44th in the state. So I don't know how the money would get broken up, but we leave Brisbane most 4th of Julys because we like fireworks. And we were down in Anaheim, and I believe my understanding what they do there is the fireworks are legal for one day only, from like dusk till 10 p.m., and they do enforce it. We were there at 10 o'clock, and every policeman out in Anaheim was there like, get your butts out, you're done. And I was thinking, okay, it can't be anywhere near the mountain, but what if we took Sierra Point, and we had fireworks booth there. People come in, they buy their fire early, they can set up a barbecue, they can get some sparklers, some small fireworks, they can watch the big shows all around the bay in the background. They've got their little things that they can do personal hand-on so that it becomes an immersive experience because, I don't know, just watching things across the bay, I'm sort of like, wow, it could be TV. But when you've got it going on in your environment and over there, then the whole thing just becomes a work of art. And they have a specialty dumpster. Nobody takes fireworks out. I'm sure some people will smuggle them out, okay, probably. But they have a dumpster. Anything that's not set off is disposed of. You have police at the exit, and just make it very clear that this is the space where we can have fireworks. And okay, I understand there are going to be problems with this, and there's probably going to be some pushback from some people in the community. But I think for every one person who takes this as an opportunity to misbehave, there's going to be two people who can channel their fireworks needs more positively. I believe in human beings, and I believe that if you give them a specific outlet, that most of them will behave themselves. So That's just my 2 cents. I think that we could safely bring fireworks back into this community if we did it with care and consideration. And I would like to see it come back in this community. And I would like to see some of the money go to the schools and potentially some other venues and fill some other needs too. And that was just some little things I wanted to throw out here to Parks and Recs Commission. Again, I apologize for being out of order. Not with my behavior, but with my timing. And thank you very much. I'll let you get back to your evening.
Great ideas.
Thank
Through
you.
Through the chair?
Yes.
That was actually a suggestion that was talked about, Barbara, at a fundraising committee meeting last year. And the suggestion was that we do something at Sierra Point along those lines. And it sounded like a script when you were saying this, that, well, we've thought of this before and we talked about it, and it was on the table. So it's something that, I appreciate you bringing it up so that we can take a look again to see if it's possible. One of the reasons I say that, I'm very worried about the fireworks in town. And every single 4th of July, New Year's Eve, I go out and stand on my deck and watch them all over town. And they're all over town, in all these dry areas close to the vegetation and so forth. And what we were talking about on the fundraising committee was taking them out to Sierra Point for that very reason.
Yeah. I really like to think that most people are good, and if you give them a place that's nearby and convenient, they will go. Like I said, there will always be a few people who just cannot toe the line for whatever reason. So I appreciate that there is a lot of concern about fireworks in this community. I hope that it would be a net benefit to this community in the long run.
I think it's an ordinance,
Yeah.
so it would be up to the council probably
Yes.
to change the ordinance.
Yes, but I think my thinking is that council would want to hear from you first, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, council wants to hear from you as well. And they are tonight. They're hearing this. And the fundraising committee from this commission can also bring that up and make that known to them when we meet with them. And so I wanted to just say one thing to you. You mentioned this twice. You said the words conventional activities. And those are the things that are the death knell of recreation programs.
Agreed.
They are the death knell, because recreation is supposed to be eclectic. It is supposed to be able to involve everybody. Everybody has something they can find. That's what we're doing in the program committee. That's what we're going to continue to be doing. We're not going to stick with, but it was always done this way because change is invigorating, and we're going to do that. So I love that when I heard you say conventional activities, and I love the Crucible, and I was thinking to myself, it's $200, but I'll bet you there's some businesses in town that might like to sponsor a kid.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just have 2 comments for you. We had a programs subcommittee meeting this week, and we were discussing different sorts of alternative programs to really meet the needs of the people here in our town and their interests. And it's really great that you brought those to us, because we throw out ideas all the time. And so we really want to hear from people like you in the community about what you want, because I never would have come up with that by myself. But I think a zombie survival camp would just do really great here, and we could definitely do it. And if you can think of instructors that could come here, we probably couldn't have welding or glass blowing here, but just if you yourself know of instructors, I think one of our big problems is just getting people to sign up and having them be aware of the classes that are offered. So we're kind of trying to tackle that issue of how can we communicate with the people in our community about what we have to offer. So you were saying you could kind of rally together some people. That really helps us, because we want all of the programs that we bring forth to actually, come to fruition. And then the second thing was, I think the idea of having recognizing a youth every year is a really fantastic idea. I used to volunteer a lot when I was a kid, and we had the Star Awards, and they would call my name, and then they would read out all of the different things that I had participated in. And like I would get a rank, like I'd get a pin or maybe I'd get a trophy, like depending on how many things I had volunteered in. And we did it at Lemon Gym. And just for me getting up on the stage, every year that was enough to motivate me the next year to keep volunteering and volunteering. And we don't have that anymore, but I think that would help motivate kids to participate in community service events and also give them recognition, because I don't really think kids get that opportunity to be recognized in their community in that way. They do in sports teams and, you know, in plays and whatever, but I think that's just such a wonderful idea to provide that for kids.
Yes, we used to have the Star Awards every year, and it was a big event. And I think one reason it kind of went to the side is that we did the recognition every year, and then we'd have a 5-year and a 10-year
Yeah.
and a 15-year and 20-year, and they got bigger pins and plates and I think even trophies, like you said.
Yeah.
But then the following years, we would put this on, and nobody showed up.
The audience.
And we'd have all these papers, and we'd call out the people's names, and the
No one
people's
was there.
They didn't show up anymore. So I think that's when we decided, well, then we'll do it every other year. And we did it, and we got few. And so then we just started, we're just going to do the volunteer of the year. But that's something else that possibly, maybe it is time to resurrect.
Or we could have a volunteer of the year for kids.
Well, maybe we
You know,
could
that we could just
resurrect the
time.
Star Awards again.
We could
Maybe
that.
people, because we haven't done that in, I don't.
Yep,
guess-
right. So this is an area where we've had conversations with the city council's had conversations. We're going to set up a meeting with the council liaison subcommittee and then the chair and the vice chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission in January
Okay.
to talk about the volunteer program and volunteer of the year program.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
But maybe if we don't resurrect that, we could still have like a volunteer of the year award for children, you know, that we give out at the same time. It's an idea.
And we used to have a garden, you know, we garden too.
Yeah, the
award for the
gardens.
garden.
Hmm. Yeah, my mom got that one year.
Yeah.
Or decoration.
Okay. I think we have another citizen. Would you like to get up and speak?
There was a little hubbub.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have parties.
Oh, is it for the day in the park?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, and we made a motion, and everybody gets a table.
As long as there's less than 12.
Yes. Yeah. 12. We have 12 tables left. So,
So Joel, did you still want to say something? You're here.
yeah.
Why don't you offer your opinion? Please.
Yeah.
Might as well.
The school board, let me ask you this, school board meeting all over with now?
It is, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know, I'd just like to say that you guys, I think you guys are doing a really good job. And I think you're a great bunch of people. And just really proud of all the work you've done, especially with the skate park. And we just hope to see that happen sooner rather than later. Also, just feel like in general, you guys are really focusing on making our resources more quality type resources, and I really appreciate that, and love what you did, sounds like, with the Day in the Park, and just thank you so much.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, we did programs report.
Staff.
No, yes, programs report. End of summer activity numbers.
Yep.
I can't speak on the swim. Steve did that one, so. Just basically, we just did some numbers up for the summer camp. All the different weeks for how many residents and non-residents for each week and the totals. And then our sports camps and how they did. And then Fun Motion Soccer was our other big summer activity, and then summer preschool. So those are just some numbers that, some totals, because we had discussed maybe trying to get something together last time we were here. And then Steve did something on the pool to give you an idea of how the swim lessons went.
I have a little bit of feedback from a member of the community about swim lessons. They said that they were concerned about the strict enforcement of the registration cutoff, even if there's room in the classes. So I just wanted to
I heard that also.
bring that up. And
I can't really speak on that because I'm just kind of going by the policies that I've been given as far as putting it up on the internet. And there is a reason why we have these deadlines. From what I know, it more has to do with, and it's kind of the same with summer camp. We had a lot of people that wanted to know why was it cut off when there was still openings. They have to staff. They have to know prior to, summer camp starts on a Monday for the week. And so Joe has to have a staff in place for the amount of kids that are going to be there for that week. So he staffs accordingly to what we give him on that Friday. And that's exactly what the swim instructors have. They need a cutoff date so that they can see how many kids they have, how many staff they need to bring in. And when you start letting people just add in kids because there's openings, there's a reason why they do it. Steve might be able to speak better than me on it, but that is what I've been given and told by not only Steve, but also by the staff for summer camp and for swim.
Through the chair. Are you going to go?
Oh, yeah, I just was going to say, that makes sense, of course, but then also, I know, because my kids have been in swimming lessons, that sometimes there are those classes that have 2 kids in them, and they
Yeah.
still run them. And, I'm sure they run them at a loss, or maybe not overall. But it seems in that kind of instance that it might be still reasonable to allow registration up to the at least minimum or maximum number of kids for that class.
And with
It's already
swim,
running.
and I think with swim, that became something that we were able to do more than with summer camp. Summer camp's a little bit different. I worked with Kayla and Ayanda a little bit on that as time went by, and more people wanted to. Because what was happening was a lot of the kids were wouldn't know until Thursday that they were moving up to a different class. So then the deadline happened and they couldn't sign up online, so they would have to come in. So I was just going to them when anybody wanted to sign up, hey, can we get this person in? It's really up to them at that point.
Okay.
I just needed to let them know. But a lot of times that was the case when there was 2. If they could move them to a different class, they would. But it was really up to them whether they wanted to do the class. But that was the reasoning that I got for why there is a deadline. There has to be a deadline at some point.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yes.
So,
But in some cases, I think it can be up to, like you say, the discretion of the aquatic staff.
yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like if the ratio is like say 4 or 5 kids per, per lifeguard, and then if there's only 2, then there should be that wiggle room for people beyond the deadline, as long as it like meets the ratios required.
Now, this is only for the swim lessons. At the summer camp, I suppose these numbers correspond to with the kids in summer camp that went up and used the pool and the,
I'm not sure I follow you.
well,
I don't think
I know they had the recreation swim, and then they had summer camp, and some of the summer camp, they didn't go and use the,
We have, pardon me, we have a morning swim.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the numbers that you see for the aquatic swim lessons include the summer camp portion of that.
We'll let you know.
Those numbers, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
No.
Okay, okay, the update of the swimming pool rehabilitation.
We have in the budget for this fiscal year to rehabilitate the pool. We are going to be resurfacing the pool deck and resurfacing the pool itself. It's probably a 6 to 8 week project.
Oh my goodness.
Where we will need to drain the pool, have, redo the concrete, have the concrete set, redo the surface of the pool, redo the tiling in the pool. You cannot do them at the same time, because if you're working on the pool, you need to be traveling on the deck. So if the deck can't be used, then you can't be working in the pool. We don't have the exact dates yet. We're working with the firm that designed the pool to develop the specs for this, but we anticipate that at some point in the winter, we will be closing the pool so we can rehab it. And as we find out more closer to the dates, we will let people know.
And that's the only project you're going to be doing up at the pool? just
Well, we're also
those-
going to be taking care of a lot of the rust around the gazebo, and if you look at some of the outdoor stuff, it's
Are you going to
looking old.
pull out those dead plants that are out by that gazebo too, behind it, that are very noticeable?
I'll check with Karen.
Well, I mean, when you
I-
look over there, you just can see them.
I can't see. I don't wear my glasses when I swim. I'm in my goggles and I can barely see.
Well, put those glasses on. You could find a lot of stuff up there that needs to
I'll
be
talk to Karen.
repaired. Okay, thank you, Stuart. Commission matters, written communications. I don't have anything.
Nope.
Okay. Commission calendar. So I know we want to have, put on our agenda,
Yeah, I don't know, I'm going to have to talk to you about that and how we want to
how we're,
put
yeah,
that
with
on there.
the lady that's going to come and,
Right. I mean, I think the question, we need to decide is how do you as a commission want to talk about the Club Rec program? Do you want to do it as a whole commission, or do you want to do it as a subcommittee first and then bring back?
well, yeah, I mean, she wants to talk about the programming. Do you guys want to do it in a subcommittee?
what
Or
I-
do you want them all to come and, 'cause
I think
that's
it
what
would
you
be-
kind of suggested, Jamie.
Well, and I can tell you that there were more than, this lady Alejandra who came was not the only one
Yeah.
that I heard from. And since we have an upcoming meeting on the 30th, if you would like us to invite her and others to come and bring their interest and concerns, we could do that and have it ready for, have a report ready for the next commission meeting. That would be a start, unless, I could contact her and say, what would be your pleasure? Would you like to come on the 30th, or do you, because we're really close to the 30th, I mean.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the soonest.
Yeah.
We could
I mean,
probably
we
schedule.
could set up another meeting specifically for
We could.
Club Rec, and my suggestion is if you're going to do that, maybe you look towards the evening hours
Right.
as opposed to daytime hours, because most of the parents who have their children in Club Rec are probably working.
It's like
So-
really
I
hard
can-
for me to get to nighttime meetings. I have so many subcommittee meetings that like all my free nighttime slots are going to that. So, I mean, maybe we could invite them. I don't know. What makes the most sense?
Well, I have a concern about, the program committee could work with it, but I don't work on the Club Rec program, and I'm not as familiar with it as you are, Renee, and I'm thinking maybe we all ought to do it.
Yeah.
Make ourselves available for them to meet with us, and then we can hear what their interests and concerns are. And then we'll have, somebody with us that does know what's going on there.
I think though, like the survey idea, even though like they may want a public forum to discuss everything, because we are talking about implementing that in like all of our recreation programming, just to have feedback about how people feel could just be a good practice for us to get into in general. We could like have a public forum and then additionally continue with that so that we're always staying in the loop, so we don't have to always continue to have meetings, regarding that.
So what would you like to do about
So do
this?
you want to put it on our agenda for next?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Do you want in the meantime to ask them if they'd like to come on the 30th, those who want to come, if they want to come on the 30th and say something?
Okay.
So that makes it
Yeah,
a little earlier.
so there's morning slots and there's afternoon slots. I mean, also plenty of the people are stay-at-home moms and maybe they're doing bedtime at nighttime. So giving
Okay.
people 2 options sounds great to me.
Okay, yeah, do that. Okay. So they're going to invite them at their meeting, but then we want that on our agenda. So they can address us, kind of like what happened this evening.
Yes.
It would be. Yeah. And then, what else do we have? When's our next meeting? October 15th.
My guess is that will be enough.
You're probably right.
Well, of course, we'll have a follow-up of the day in the park.
And hydrants.
And hydrants, yes. So we'll have the follow-up reports on those.
Public art.
Public art. So we'll have the follow-up on those 3 things. And then, just your subcommittee report. So I think that's
That's
all we have on our agenda.
And that is October.
October 15th, next meeting. So you got all that, Tricia? Okay. I adjourn the meeting at 8:54.
I love your vest. I want a vest just like that. I do a lot of
wear
work
a
with
lot.
the crystals.
I do a lot of vests.
You do? So do I.
All right.
What kind of glue do you use?
I don't know. I think it's just for material.
Clothes?
Yeah.
I do like a lot of jewelry.